Bam. All right, we're live. Get this rolling in just a second. Welcome. If you're new, welcome. Yep, we'll get started in just a minute. Let me know where you're from if you're new, and like what part of the country your remodeling business is in. Just takes a couple minutes to get all the slides together. There's a screen share on the YouTube if you want to watch that. You don't have to. You can ask questions on either. Any questions you have about anything remodeling? And that's what we're going to get into tonight. This is the last night we're going to kind of talk about employees for a while, and then we move on to another topic. So welcome if you're new. Usually get a good group of remodelers. If you look, if you just want to win more, hang out. That's it. It's not that hard. We'll get you there. This game's much easier than a lot of guys are making it. So, hello, welcome. Let me know where you're from. Maybe let me know your specialty. What makes you the most money? What do you like to do the most? All right. We're almost there. Some of you might be commenting, and I might not be seeing them in the moment. So just bear with me a moment. Yep, welcome. Just taking a second to get everything going. We've got some good stuff here. Welcome. All right. Busy night tonight, anybody? Damn. Wow. We're getting there, fellas. I appreciate your time. That's all. Just sometimes the connection's quicker. We get started a little quicker than I might be ready. So, hello, welcome. Yes, it's a little late tonight, 19772. But I had a teacher used to say, better late than never. Better never late. Contractor Damon, welcome. All right. So some of you might have commented. I might not be seeing it yet. Seems to be a little bit of a lag, maybe. I don't know. Bear with me. All right, there we go. Now we're rolling. All right. So here's what we're talking about. Um, Employees. At the end of the day, if you want to grow your team, you need a employee somewhere. All right. Now, you can get away with a lot of subcontractors for doing the work, but most guys that really scale the business, they at least have a right hand person, somebody that helps them in the office, somebody that helps them in the field, right? A top end carpenter, a top end project manager, a top sales, whatever. You have somebody that's working for you. So you have to figure out ways to reward people and acknowledge them. Because at the end of the day, I know a lot of guys think it's all about money, but over time you'll find it's not. And then you got to ask yourself, would you even work for you? Right? Because sometimes we can be, if we're the owner of the company, well, we can be tough to work for. Um, are you the type of boss that, is that you'd want to work for basically? And recognize that just because being a business owner doesn't mean you have to be a hard ass. You just have to be firm and consistent. But people want to be rewarded. So let's look at it. So basically, you just want to analyze how you're doing in your business. Do you know how your team really sees you? Do they trust you? Do they have faith in you? Or do they think you're a coward? Do they think that you're a backstabber? Right? Like, what do they really think? Do you talk bad about everybody as soon as they walk off the job site? Or are you always positive and encouraging? Do you fly off the handle and have lots of arguments constantly and they never know who's going to show up? Do you bring your personal crap onto the job site? I mean, that's the culture for a lot of job sites. Or do you separate that and treat everybody with respect? So, I can remember in the beginning, I would be I was moody on jobs. I would be pissed off if I wasn't. I always thought we were behind. I don't care how good everybody was doing. I was always pissed. I'm like, we're losing money. We got to get done quicker, right? There was this it was like feed the machine, constant pressure. And I was difficult to work with. I would not have wanted to work for me because I didn't have the understanding or the patience to know that, Mike, relax, like you'll get there. The guys are doing a good job. As long as we're making progress every day, we're going to get there. Uh, I don't, all right. It says that you guys are sending messages, but I guess TikTok is, sometimes it blocks the messages. So, all right. Um, so for me, I had to learn that, hey, Justin, welcome, brother. Hey, it was real good to see you on the call earlier. I hope that was worth your time. Appreciate you jumping on. I know it's in the middle of a day, and that can be challenging, obviously, for a lot of people. So yeah, looks like you got a nice. I'm really, I get it that it's hot there in the summertime, but man, like I got a sweat. It's cold. We're probably gonna have to put the heat on soon. It's anyway. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate you being there. Daniel's a real good guy. If we get you, if you want to join for another one, we'll take a minute where you guys we can introduce everybody. And what I do is the way those calls work. I do one in the beginning of the month that was like today. The other one we do at the end of the month, and that's just open forum. Anyone can talk, any questions. We can go around, do more introductions. You can share about your business if you like, your family life, whatever. Talk about any hobbies, stuff like that, where we get to know each other a little bit more. So the first one of the month is more like business focused. And the second one, it's a combination, checking in, seeing how guys are doing, and also answering any business questions, but it doesn't have a defined topic. So anyway, uh, so let me break this down real quick. Man, it's been a long day, as you know, so I'm a little late. All right. There are four brutal questions that I would say if to have a team, if you want to look yourself in the mirror. This goes for people that if you're a parent or if you have a spouse, like a lot of times. So I've been divorced, right? And that was an interesting experience to go through. I didn't want to be divorced. But that's the reality of the situation. I had this mindset that like we should work through it because most of the time, when the more you start to understand about how your brain works, most people just take whatever problem they have and they just drop it into the next relationship. So, like, the best thing to do is to find, if you found someone who's willing to work with you in life, the two of you typically should work through your issues. Now, I say that with sometimes there's just a misalignment, and that was for whatever reason. Um, so when you've been through divorces and you've had to breakups, you've had relationships in business, partnerships, and if you've worked for companies and you've had to leave or you've been asked to leave, if you've had to quit, change, whatever. A lot of times you have to look at yourself and say, what am I bringing to the situation? Am I the problem? Is the other person the problem? Is it a combination? And for me, running my business was a big growth period in my life. I had to recognize that, yes, there's some things that I do well, and there are a lot of things that not so well. I've had a lot of areas to develop, right, and improve on. And that to me, I really believe that for anyone who gets into business, there's a journey you go through, and it's part of the process. Your business will grow as you grow as a person. So anyhow, it's different for everybody, right? Some people, this isn't a problem. Some people, it's something else. But for me, I had to look at like who I was being, and I wasn't being the friendliest person to the guys on the team. I always expected too much. And part of that's my own problem. I'll expect too much out of myself, right? I'll beat myself up. And I always felt like we were behind. It didn't matter how fast the guys were getting the job done. Um, and the reality was most of the guys worked really hard and most of the guys were just amazing. So I had to readjust my expectations. So that was the part that the man in the mirror thing they talk about. You have to look and say, man, what is it that I could do differently to make this work? Because the guys were doing what they had to do. So anyway, another thing is be cognizant that you're giving consistent feedback to your team. Same goes with your clients. You should have discussions with, hey, Mr. Miss Homeowner, I told you I was going to be here 2 hours today on this service call. And, an hour in, if you happen to see them in their house, let them know everything's rolling as planned. Or, hey, this is more involved than I thought, or whatever. People just want to know what's going on. I learned that the hard way in the beginning. I didn't want to tell anybody anything till the end, till I had all the answers. And that created a lot of problems for me. So the other thing is, positive feedback's always the best for everybody. Try to restrict any criticism that you're having of the situation. There's a difference between coaching and criticism. There's correcting, there's showing somebody something different, right? There's coaching, there's criticism. So understand the difference. They talk about the criticism sandwich. Yeah, imagine that you have a hamburger, compliment first. Then, if you have a coaching opportunity or idea that you want to put out there, right? And then you rebuild again with another positive, or vice versa. Positive, maybe the area of opportunity, another positive. So nobody likes to be walking away with bad news all the time. Um, And think about this. A lot of guys, if you just make things neater, the guys will like working for you. Think about just the way you keep your vehicles. Like I mean, when I go to some of the supply houses, the big box stores, and you see how contractors just keep their vehicle. And I get it. Like you're tired. It's a long day. You're in a dirty, messy environment. But then there'll be other job sites you'll pull up, and that guy's vehicle, it might not be new, but it's clean. It's you can just tell there's like a level of respect, appreciation, right? The dash isn't loaded with stuff. It's been wiped down with some Armor All pads at least in the last year. Um, that all carries over. What I say to a lot of people, and homeowners recognize this, how you do one thing is how you do most things. If you don't keep yourself somewhat clean, your vehicle somewhat clean, the homeowner already knows that you're not going to be keeping their house somewhat clean, right? So y- your it's the how we carry ourselves goes across. Like, Justin, you had a nice shirt on today, right? You have the logo, it's got a collar. perfect, right? Like as long as the vehicle doesn't have to be brand new. But if you know what I'm saying, if it's just the dash is clean, when you open up the car door, coffee cups shouldn't be falling out. I mean, this is what happens. Like guys just pull up, their half their fast food lunch falls out. You know what I'm saying? Homeowners see that, but what also happens is if that's the way if you're the boss, your guys will follow. I would go around. I go around a lot of the job sites, and I will pick up the broom and I will sweep and clean up trash. I will help the guys keep the job site clean, and I do that because I recognize that. Yeah, beer cans falling out. Exactly. It, it's the reality for sure. So I will practice what I preach, right? Like I'll even say to the guys, like, hey, I'll clean up the job site today. For the last, you guys take some time, tidy up your vehicles, like make them look sharp, get your stuff organized. And Justin, as a plumber, you already know how challenging I'm assuming you work out of like a van that you can get in and out of. You guys, it's a nightmare trying to keep those vans organized, right? There's so many fittings and you got to carry this and that. And you, usually what happens is I get it like you're working hard in the homeowner's house and then you come as soon as you get out of the house. Oh, you're working out of a crew cab truck. All right. How about it? Yeah, man. All right. So, but it's hard to keep vehicles clean sometimes when you're working hard on the job site all the time. What I suggest is take a little bit of time every day and keep the vehicle clean. It saves you time. You're not that extra 15 minutes that you're looking for that fitting because you don't remember where you put it. Okay, nice. All right. Yeah, so I'll share this and you can prove me wrong. Do you have like panels, like job boxes on the bed? Do you have like a work bed? You know what I'm saying? Because I tell you, man, in my 30s, I was still working out of F-350, F-150s, and I was getting tired of crawling in and out of the backs of the tailgates. I mean, now they put steps in them. Mine didn't have the tailgate step, but anyway. Um, but where I'm going with this is if you keep the vehicle organized, okay, totes and a step ladder. All right, cool. So if you have the totes, then I get the impression that your stuff's probably pretty organized. And where I'm going with that is, believe it or not, like if you're spending 15 minutes every job looking for stuff that you already have, you just don't know where it is because you moved it at the last job to find the other thing, right? I mean that it's like the guy who won't take time to sharpen his axe, but yet he's complaining he's got to cut all the trees down. Um, you know, sometimes it just makes sense to take a few minutes, organize the vehicle. All right. Make sure that you're asking yourself, like, am I being fair to the guys? Make sure you're handling conflict the best that you can. And then I would just say to you, look at what would uh by you being a better boss, how does that help everyone? Homeowners see it too. They see how you interact with the guys. They see how the guys act when you're not around, how they talk about you. I had a guy for like 6 months was bad mouthing the company myself. I didn't know it. Fortunately, one of my customers shared it with me. Um, so like that can happen. All right. So that's the end of what I have. Just be cognizant, be self-aware. That's the biggest challenge in life. Nobody's perfect. I still make a lot of mistakes. I'm sure like today, I'm sure I know I probably messed up something on the call. I didn't really do the presentation 100% the way I'd planned it. Like I was looking at my notes. I know I missed something, you know, it happens. We're human, but as long as we're working, I think towards, uh, the intent a lot of times is really the thing. Thanks, Justin. I find that people can pick up on intent. People that are self-aware, they can recognize, right? Like I have some guys that have worked with me and they weren't the best, but they did what they could, right? Like I accepted them how they were because they're good people. Like they're not out to cheat anyone. Yeah, they're not the fastest framer, they're not the best tile setter, but they're diligent, right? And they care. And to me, that goes a lot farther. And homeowners love them. I mean, some of my guys, the homeowners are sitting there making them breakfast, giving them lunch. Technically, the guys aren't supposed to be doing that, right? Like I explained to the homeowners, please, the guys are here to work on your project. If you keep feeding them, it's going to take twice as long to get the job done. Um, but there's a give and a take, right? Because homeowners do sometimes really appreciate, and you might find for you too, like a lot of times you'll be on site and the homeowner wants you to sit down. Hey, you want a cup of tea or whatever you like to drink? That if they've just baked something, a lot of times if they're big, they'll offer it to you. And I found over time it's better to accept a lot of the times, even if I'm not hungry, thirsty. It's just like a good way to have a connection with people. So anyway, those are my thoughts on all that. Any who all's on here? Any questions? I know it's late. So, Justin, it's interesting. You're definitely a few years older. That gentleman, Daniel, he's a younger guy. He grew up in the trade. Calm down, enjoy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like recognize and try to meet the customer where they're at, right? Being aware of it for sure. But yeah, so Daniel's, he's a kid. He grew up in the industry is with his working with both, I think his dad and his grandfather, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, he is. He's come a long way. I mean, he's growing his team. He's just recently he's had some guys helping him here and there. Uh more obviously subcontracted side, but he's making that push now to where he's able to be on a call during the day. He's got the guys doing a lot of the work for him. So it's a big transition for him that he's going through right now. He wasn't sure he wanted it, like I think we all go through different phases. We don't know what we want out of our business. Sometimes it evolves over time. I'm telling you. Yeah, it just look, he is going to succeed at numbers because of that, 100%. Um, everybody has their style, right? Some guys really get into the weeds. I don't, and I'm not saying that my way is any better than his. Right at the end of the day, we have targets that we want to shoot for, and however we get there. But he's probably the best guy you'd want. Yes. Yeah, exactly. At minimum, right? Like, so, and when you're new, I think like there's that anxiety of not wanting to miss anything. He's a how do I explain this? I have so I have a couple, my family, I'm the older of the ones. I have a couple younger brothers. I have one who's exceptionally cautious compared to me. I have taken a lot more chances and risks in my life. Some have been amazing, some have not. They've all been learning experiences. And I sometimes would say that I think my brother lives a life where he wishes he would do a lot of things and he doesn't. I can't say that for certain. He hasn't shared that with me, but I'll know we'll talk about doing something. And I'm like, I'm just going to go do that. And he's like, I can't do that. So we all have our process, right? How we experience life. I don't know. But what I'm going with it, those numbers will be good. He's not going to have any problems with his numbers. Yeah. 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 My youngest brother worked for me for a little while. So we're pretty, I don't know. At the time, it was a big age gap. I'm like 8 years older than him. So growing up was challenging, because I was basically like a surrogate parent to him. I always had to, like, be careful, because when you're in high school and your sibling's 8 years younger and we wanna go out and play soccer, I'd wanna drill the ball at him and, next thing you know, he's crying. So I was like, "Alright, yeah, you can't do that." But, he worked for me for a while when we got started. He's a really good worker, and it's interesting now because it's fun. I'll go over to his house, like, he's building his own, big garage right now. He doesn't do this stuff for a living. He works with, computers and, like, does stuff, but anyway, he knows how to do all the framing now. He knows how to do tile, sheetrock, I mean, you name it. He basically can build a house, uh, outside, he can run electric. He's not gonna wire up a panel. He can run CPVC supply lines, but he's not gonna, line out an entire drainage system and trying to get the vent pipe and the slope. You know what I'm saying? So, but, anyway, it was fun working with him for a couple years when he was a young kid. I bought him his first, so I like Milwaukee, uh, but he wanted a DeWalt kit for some reason, I don't know. So I bought him a DeWalt, uh, cordless kit. Okay, mine can talk a lot. Awesome. And, so we always joke about Milwaukee and DeWalt, so. Um, anyhow, you have a couple siblings yourself? Oh, wow. Yeah, alright. Yeah. It's, so my parents, I'm very fortunate, both my parents are still alive. They're in their 70s, and, that's what they told that's funny. Yep. And it's interesting 'cause, I have a middle brother. My younger brother and I, we definitely had different experiences with our parents. The way the parenting style changed over time. We have different views on what the quality of the parent experience was. Me being the oldest, I experienced the parents one way, my brothers experienced them another way. So that's always funny when we get together. And I'm like, it's like we didn't even have the same parents, you know? You might experience this, I don't know. I've seen that the younger ones have a lot more freedom. The parents just give a lot more to them, except sometimes they don't always get the same amount of attention, right? But they just let the kid do a lot more, I don't know, freedom. At least that's how it was in our family. My youngest brother, he got to do whatever he wanted. Any within reason, I guess I should say. And then the parents always felt they knew he was the last at a certain point. I feel like that he got a little extra. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. You had to prove yourself, it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah, I tease him. I tell him it oftentimes I felt like I lost a few years of being a kid because I had to watch his butt, and take care of him. Okay. Mom was always tough. Yeah. It's funny those the TikTok just it filters, man, certain words, Justin, when I try to if I say them, if I start talking a certain way on here, it's the app wants to close the app and get me off the live. And certain comments that you'll people type in, it doesn't want to share them. I have to go in, find them, and approve them. Crazy. So, you know what? I haven't been paying attention to. I don't think anybody's on the YouTube. I haven't been paying attention. Yeah, there's nobody there. Yeah, yeah. Are your parents still around? All right. I guess it's. So I might be having. There might be a connectivity issue. Crazy. Yeah. So. All right. I'm traveling. So this weekend I'm traveling with my girlfriend. She's got family up outside of Philly. I don't know what the my schedule will be like for Saturday. Um, Sunday should be back. Friday should be fine. I'll do another live at Friday night. I just don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. I have to figure that out. Um, so we're visiting my girlfriend's family, and I want to be, respectful of whatever we're trying to do there. Um, so it might be awkward to try to find a place to do a live at their house. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. uh, maybe there's a. I got to find good Wi-Fi. Maybe there's a coffee shop somewhere up around there that I could hop into. We'll see. But anyhow, so but other than that, Friday and Sunday should be regular. We're gonna start. Like I said, we move over to working with clients. So I think you'll find this part enjoyable. You probably, I mean, you seem to already understand that. Like, I get the impression you're an even keel type of person too. That is probably insightful, understands relationships. You can judge temperaments. A lot of people can't. So that we'll do that for I don't know, it's like 15 days. We'll talk about different things with the homeowners, the clients, you know. I'm curious, you'll have to share, work commercial work is a lot different. I haven't done a ton of it, okay? I've done some. Um, I've done uh selling of services in the commercial, like business to business space, things like that, obviously. But as far as like, I've only worked in a few restaurants. But what I'm getting at is the commercial space was probably super easy. You just get in, it's all about just getting the work done, I'm assuming, was your experience. You had to keep everyone in line. Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I guess yeah, so see, I mean, it's funny, right? Everybody's family dynamic at home. Yeah, the family dynamics are always a little different. It's always fascinating how it plays out. So I do tend to tell people that what I've found as your companies are growing, it's a sticky subject to try to tell people that we're like a family here, because not it, I can't speak for anyone else. It's like I feel I've been very fortunate. I don't have a lot of drama, excitement like in my immediate family. There's always stuff with like extended family, cousins or whatnot. But as far as um, so but I know that that's not the case for a lot of people. So, like, if I when I talk about family, it's usually a positive, but, um, having had people work for me, often when you sit down, you're getting a bite to eat and you're just talking and hearing about what's happening in their lives. Not everyone's family life is or experience is the best. So, that's why sometimes I'll share, like, be careful about trying to say we're like a family. I don't think that that's usually a good approach because everybody's experience is different, what family means to them. So, but, yeah. Alright, uh, but yeah, yeah. Well, Justin, I again, thank you. Um, Appreciate you being here. I think we'll wrap up a little earlier tonight, and then, tomorrow we'll come back and we'll be the first day. So what tomorrow's all about, I call it your client journey. And it's how do the homeowner has in their mind what they think the experience of hiring you is going to be like from start to finish. And if you're just doing service work, you're probably finding it works really well. And I say that because at first, I was doing remodeling projects multi-day, right? Usually a couple weeks to couple months, and we started noticing patterns, when homeowners started to be frustrated, right? They started out excited, then they got to the point where they hated us, and then they couldn't wait for us to be done sometimes. Now, we got into running I started a handyman division, and that work was all usually only a couple hours to just a few days, right? Even though some people would call the handyman to do kitchens, baths, and basements and decks. But the way we classified it, once they sold over like $5,000, we moved it out of a handyman project. Anyway, what I'm saying is the small jobs, the emotions, the relations were much easier. The homeowner was like always happy. "Oh, great. Can't wait to see you. So glad you're here. You're done." But when you're on these extended projects, that in the homeowner's mind drag out, there's definitely a chess match that starts happening where you have to help maneuver the process. Yeah, that's the goal. Yep. So, alrighty. Well, I mean, Justin, it's if you have any, you know, if there's anything you have a question about, please ask. Otherwise, okay. Well, sir, again, thank you. You have an awesome night. All right. And finish out good. Yes. Keep it fresh. Yes, sir. That's the way to do it, my man. Yes. All right. Well, hopefully tomorrow you'll have, all satisfied clients, and we'll catch up on the next live. So again, thanks, Justin. Have a great night. Google Chrome would like to come. All right.